Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Coming on in a few in our Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames. Today we're featuring fitness and health influencer Dalyce Radtke, a 59-year-old mom of 7 who is very dedicated to creating simple, effective home workouts. Her mission is to teach women how to increase their strength, energy levels, and confidence, all the while boosting their metabolism. Her specialty is to help pre and post-menopausal women appreciate their health. Now, we all know that exercise is an important part of staying healthy, but many people assume that as we get older, we should slow down. Nothing could be further from the truth. And in fact, investing in your physical fitness in your 50s, 60s, and beyond is one of the most valuable gifts you can give yourself. When we think of aging well, we often think of staying healthy and retaining our independence, continuing to pursue activities we enjoy, developing new hobbies, and staying active within our community. Just because our age changes doesn't mean that we have to fundamentally change as people. Today, we're chatting keeping fit in your 50s, 60s, and beyond, and of course, the importance of proper nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. We start planning our retirement decades before we need the money. The same concept holds true for our physical mobility in our 70s and 80s. We need to start exercising regularly decades before we truly need it. I say if you haven't started by your 50s, be prepared to lose some of your physical independence when you become a senior. Welcoming now to the show is my expert at hand, the incredible Dalyce Radtke. Welcome to the show, stunner.
Thank you, Zen, so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
You are beautiful. You are gorgeous. I cannot believe you are 59.
Yes.
I want to look like you when I'm that age.
Oh, geez. You look great.
Now, your mom, thank you. Your mom is 91. I see these videos you post and still very, very active. How often do people need to exercise in their 50s and 60s, in your opinion, to keep it together?
You know what I always say? I think you should do a little bit of something every day. The key is to not be sedentary. You don't have to go to the gym. You can do it at home. You can do it outdoors. But doing a little something every day really adds up. And that's what my mom does, my 91-year-old mom. She does go to the gym a couple of days a week, but she only does that when it's nice out and she can get in the car and she can actually drive herself there. But on days when it's really, she lives in Canada, when it's snowing or it's cold, she actually works out inside her apartment. She always does a little something every day, so a little bit adds up in the end.
Of course, without a doubt. And I look, a well-balanced exercise routine, to your point, includes a little of everything, and resistance training for your muscles, cardio for your heart, and flexibility. The other day I was talking to my husband and his trainer. We were talking about my in-laws, and he said, look, I recommend that we include 30 to 60 minutes of exercise every day for some level of weight maintenance and general good health. Crack up that number to 90 minutes if you're trying to lose weight. But it sounds like, a lot. But to your point, small chunks of daily physical activity count as well, like gardening and housework. And so
exactly. It doesn't have to be a program. You don't have to sit down and write out a strength training program to work out. My mom doesn't do that. She does little bits of things every day. And it's little things such as even getting down on the floor. Just because you're 91 doesn't mean that you should not be able to sit down on the floor. And she actually does that when she's folding her laundry. She actually crouches down and sits on the floor and folds it. If she's watching TV, she sits on the floor. But like I said, you can sit on your sofa and do sit to stands. You can sit on a chair when you're in the kitchen. You can scoot off and do a few dips or a few push-ups. So it's just making do with what you have. But the key is to be consistent.
And consistency is key, of course. Now, what happens to our physical mobility, Dalyce, when we become older? And what specific exercises should a woman in her 60s do?
I think, once again, stick to the basic, simple exercises. Simple as when you get up in the morning, throw your legs over the edge of the bed and, do a simple stretch side to side, lean forward, lean down and touch your toes, lifting your knees up and just, doing a little bit of knee ups with rotating your hips to keep your hips mobile. As simple as standing at your kitchen counter in the morning and swinging your leg back and forth, doing some arm circles. Basically, if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
If you, I love that. If you don't use it, you'll lose it.
That's my 91-year-old mom sticks to. She says it every single day.
It's true. It's a great mantra.
Motivation. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And the older you get, the quicker or the more difficult it is to get it back.
It's true. And I believe that look, the most important area to work on in your fitness as we age is our balance, right? Because most of the seniors in my life that I know are physically active, but due to some fall or a slip, a lot of the seniors ended up losing much of their mobility. And once that happens, their health goes downhill really fast. Hence, I always say I recommended this to my in-laws, start adding Pilates, yoga
Yes,
fusion, get on the floor, like you said,
yes,
fold the
and
clothing on the floor, strengthen the core and
for
balance.
sure. And you don't have to wait until you're in your 50s. I have kids in their 20s as well, and I tell them, I didn't think of this when I was in my 20s, but you're doing this starting at a young age to prevent this in the future. Is to practice balance exercises, work that into your exercise routine, and even not even a routine. You can be at the grocery store standing in line, stand on one leg when you're brushing your teeth. You hear that all the time, stand on one leg. Every once in a while, if you're watching TV or whatever you're doing, reach down and touch your toes and try and do that on one foot.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't have to do it at the gym.
Right. And then of course that's workout personality, right? Because I say that the key to establishing an exercise routine is to make it fit your personality. So you obviously love and advocate for exercising at home. What are some simple pieces of equipment we should have if we are going to be implementing the at-home workouts?
You don't need a lot. Basically, I think the best thing you can have is an exercise band, a resistance band. You can get a full body workout. They're very, very lightweight. You can travel with it. You can throw it in a bag. They're inexpensive. They don't take up a lot of room. A light set of dumbbells. Nowadays, they're so inexpensive. You can find them at Target or any store. 2, 3, 5, 8 pounds, whatever that is. But make sure whatever you're using challenges your muscles. Everyone's different. That could be 3 pounds. That could be 8 pounds. Everyone's different. But even just a basic bench in your house, a chair, even the edge of your bed, kitchen counter, they can all be used as tools.
Yep, these are great. The answer is always right under your nose. Now let's shift to menopause. So menopause is a fact of life for many women. Obviously, we know that it occurs when we stop menstruating, and the time before menopause, when women gradually produce less estrogen, is called perimenopause. Now, as women transition from perimenopause into menopause, they may experience hot flashes, insomnia, vaginal dryness, night sweats, weight gain. The list goes on and on. And as estrogen levels in the body decrease, our risk of developing some conditions increases. This includes osteoporosis, heart disease, urinary incontinence, just to name a few. What are some vitamins that can help minimize the symptoms of low estrogen? What do you recommend?
You know what? I'm not a dietitian, and obviously I'm not a doctor. I take a multivitamin. I basically say I like to get all of my vitamins and nutrients from the foods that I eat. But I do as a backup, just in case you don't eat perfect one day. I take just a multivitamin, a multivitamin with omega 3s. But once again, I really believe that strength training is key before and during menopause.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then superfoods, right? Like you said, it's important. It's more about what you're eating and what you're ingesting than what you're supplementing with. So, let's chat superfood to focus on in your 50s and 60s. So, we know that once we reach our 50s, it can be important to make changes in our diets and lifestyle that help us get the nutrients we need for obviously later in life. And as our bodies change with time, I say so should what's on our plate. And while we've been able, although I was able to scarf down, a donut or two in my 20s without a second thought, of course, it could have a larger impact on my blood sugar levels and risk for diabetes and heart disease, when I'm in my 40s. So if you're diagnosed with any health conditions that call for a change in eating habits, of course, people in their 50s need to adapt in order to manage and improve symptoms. What are and again, basic eating habits? What are some basic healthy eating habits to follow at this age point that we're talking about, 50s and 60s?
Once again, I think you need to keep it simple. I think you need to focus on getting away from dieting and eating less and focusing on protein. And protein is going to fill you up. Make sure the biggest portion of food on your plate is protein and vegetables. And I believe you can eat anything. I don't stay away from carbs, but you want the healthy carbs and you want that at every meal. But you want to focus on protein. And I think the biggest problem that women have, or where they're confused, is I think most people overeat. I think portion control is very important. Every restaurant supersizes now. Every time you go somewhere, you get a huge meal. We don't need to eat that much. And I don't believe that you need to eat all day long. Back in the day, they'd say you eat every 2 hours. It's different for everyone, but I believe stick to 3 meals a day. Limit your snacking throughout the day. But if you are hungry, make them healthy snacks. Stay away from processed foods. Stay away from the sodas, all the sugar-laden coffee drinks. They add up. Those calories really add up at the end of the day. And it's a calorie in, calorie out, but those calories that are going in need to be good calories.
Yeah, of course. They have to be good calories. And like you said, it's so easy to those calories could be hidden. You have a latte, you don't think about it. They've put, all
Oh,
this extra vanilla syrup in there and 2 pounds of whipped cream. And of course, it's no longer just a coffee, it's a dessert.
yeah.
How do you feel about intermittent fasting?
What's interesting? I've been reading a couple of books on that recently, and I do intermittent fast off and on, but it's not because I don't do it to lose weight. I do it because it's just my lifestyle. When I get up, I like to have my greens drink first, and then I have a coffee, and I take that into my workout. And by then it's 11 o'clock, and I usually eat my first meal around noon. That's just what works for me because I'm not hungry in the morning, and it works for me. I get the rest of my calories throughout the day, but I do try and keep it within a window of like 8 to 10 hours. And so it works for some people. Some people it doesn't work for. I think do what works for you.
Yeah, I've started the intermittent fasting too, and that's why I was interested because it's been working for me. And again, not because I need to lose weight. Your body just goes through a cleansing process, and you can't, to your point, overwhelm your body by constantly just feeding it. In fact, we
Right.
know as a fact that the cells regenerate and the cells replenish when you starve them out a little bit. So the intermittent fasting that you've been naturally doing in your routine has been what you've naturally been inclined to do because you're listening to your body, and now all
Right.
these statistics are coming out. Same with me. I had Alexa and gained a total of 19 pounds in my pregnancy. Not to say that women who gain more, it's a calorie in, calorie out because you have a lot of hormonal imbalances
Right.
when you are pregnant. But it was a very simple math equation for me:
Yeah.
calories in, calories out. You're not going
It
to
is.
overeat. You just have to feed a little bit extra for the baby. I mean, she was born 6 pounds 9 ounces. I lost that 7 pounds right away, 7 pounds of fluid, and I had only 7 pounds to go.
Yeah.
That was the total, stress of my pregnancy. But
Right.
everyone's different.
Well, I think women try to make it so difficult because there's so much information out there. It's overwhelming. Like, what do I do? How am I supposed to eat? How am I supposed to work out? What kind of program? I think it is very simple. It's calories in, calories out. You have to burn whatever you're putting in your body. You have to be able to burn that off throughout the day. If you're eating constantly, which I think most people do, they just instinctively, emotional eating. They're grabbing things to eat throughout the day. They're eating on the run. They're eating when they're out, and they don't realize how many calories they're taking in. At the end of the day, they're probably taking more in than they're actually burning off.
Yep. Very true. Very true. Well, listen, it was so enlightening chatting with you. Any final thoughts? What advice would you have to your younger self on a health tip?
On a health tip, I would say, focus on protein. Forget about the dieting. It doesn't work. Be consistent. Consistency is key. And life, like, we get busy in life. If you can't do something today, do it tomorrow. There's always another day, but do something small every single day and stick with it.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much. It was so much
You're
fun
welcome,
chatting with
Jen.
you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You are incredible. Guys, you definitely have to check out Dalyce Radtke. She's amazing. She's credible. Head to Instagram and check out her handle at fit_mom of 7. Now, listen, many plan financial and a lot of financials for retirement, but they don't plan for the social aspect of this phase of life. If you're going to go from an active working environment where you interact with others throughout the day to being home, the shift in socialization can be quite stark. So make a plan for getting out and being with people on a regular basis. Consider joining a hobby group or a local sports club. Interacting with people definitely helps you manage emotions, stress, and helps you maintain good habits. Studies show that spending lots of time with family and friends may even help you live longer. That was our Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.